Hello, and welcome to another episode of Great American Underdog, where we share stories of strength and success from real life underdogs. Today, I have a very special guest with me who has an incredible story to share with us, and definitely a unique underdog story. We're going to learn some valuable insights from her and how she overcame adversity to get to where she is today. She is someone that I've known for some time now and have been grateful to watch as her story unfolds. She's an incredible friend and business professional who is loved by many. And she is the owner of her own property management and real estate consulting company, Anchor Teahl Management. It's my honor to welcome Jacquie Teahl. Jacquie, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. So
It's
excited to
great
be
to have
here.
you on. Oh, I'm excited to have you. This has been something that's been in talks for some time with you and I. And I think that a lot of people listening are going to benefit from learning more about your story. But before we get into it, I do want to know, and we start off every episode like this. Tell me, what is your favorite underdog story? Fictional, non-fictional, doesn't matter.
Yeah, definitely fictional.
Okay.
I really like the Harry Potter story where he had nothing, no confidence. He was kicked and had everything thrown at him, and he overcame all of it. And it was for the greater good, right? That's what I took from it.
Sure.
So that was really inspiring that it wasn't just a personal thing. He was really trying to save the world. So I like that story a lot.
Yeah, and I also love that story as well, just because as you know, growing up in a home where he was different and around different people, once he found out that his true power that was always inside of him, and he really began to build confidence and harness that, he legitimately saved the world in that story. And it's something that I definitely appreciate as well. So Jacquie, talk to me a little bit about your upbringing. Where are you from? How'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Highland Park, New Jersey. So a little small town. My upbringing was normal. I have an older brother and an older cousin. So I was like always roughhousing with them, playing sports. So I, got tough, sort of.
Sure.
And we're very family oriented. My grandmother was the heart of our family. So we spent a lot of time together, her and I, and me and my brother and my cousin. So it was very normal, very middle class, I guess. And
Okay.
then it was fun
What
childhood.
what early experiences really help shape who you are today, you feel like? What are some of the most memorable times that you feel you carry into adulthood?
Well, my grandmother was a volunteer for Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital. She was doing, pretty much full time work as a volunteer there. So very early, I remember they called it candy striping. So we would give out magazines or just visit patients, some, especially ones that didn't have any family come by. So making cards and magazines and just really spending my time extra outside of school doing that. So that was a big thing that I think shaped me to realize that not everybody's as lucky as me to have family, to have
Or
support. So that was a big eye opener for me. Something that I hold to this day. I do like to volunteer and I do like to help people. So that's got to be it.
what's your favorite thing about volunteering?
Making someone's day, it's not necessarily about how I feel afterwards. Of course, I feel good that I did something, but really helping even just one person. People can donate food and do different things, but when you get really hands on and you meet these people and you hear stories, it's it's heartbreaking, but it's also like today I can help them. Today I serve them in a way that they haven't been served before. So that's really like what I love about it. Sometimes I go home feeling great that I did a really great job. And sometimes I go home and cry because I can't do anything else. So that's a personal struggle I have.
Yeah, I can understand that. And the other thing, though, too, is I do want to remind you of the impact you are still making in these people's lives when you have volunteered in your life. And, we're going to get into more of what you do today. But like you said, just one person, people, get so hung up in today's day and age, I feel like about, social media followers and the quantity of people and, the amount of likes and shares. But really, if you inspire one person to make positive change in their life or you just help, in their life in general. I think that that's a beautiful thing. And I think sometimes people skip over the quality of that. And, like you, it makes me feel good when that happens. And I hope always that I could do more. But even if we can't, just know that that definitely makes a difference in people's lives, even if it's just something as small as volunteering, which isn't a small thing at all. It definitely makes a huge impact in people's lives, as you know.
Yeah. And I mean,
So,
if you don't have the time to volunteer, I mean, just smiling,
yeah,
just smile at the cashier, ask them how their day is. Small
yeah.
things like that really, you might not have time to go and volunteer like some of us, but
Mhm.
you can make small impacts too. I
Yeah,
believe that too.
little acts of kindness always have a way of paying themselves forward, especially when it's unexpected as
Yep.
well. So, and when people get that and they might have been down that day, you don't know what's going on in their life, and how that might actually impact them just by a smile. And something as small as a smile is actually a huge thing to somebody's life
Yeah.
in one day, let's just say. So, Jackie, talk to me a little bit about now, what were some of the biggest, I guess, fears, challenges, obstacles you went through as you got older, that ultimately led to where you are today?
I think the the broadest thing of my fears and obstacles was never feeling like I was good enough, never doing enough, never, I was comparing myself to others, where I was in life to where somebody my age was or younger. So that held a big weight on my shoulders and a big cloud. That put me in a really bad place. I just seeked out a numbness during that time. And I mean, I started doing drugs, I disconnected from my family and I just kind of rolled with it. I had this I don't care about anybody attitude and that set me back. But, coming out of that time, I learned a lot and it's a mindset. So I wanted to change that and I eventually did. I have it's coming up on 7 years, actually 8 years. Wow. It's been a
Wow,
while.
that's truly
Yeah.
incredible, Jack. Yeah, you have the realization, like you just said, like 8 years, like how time can fly, and we don't even
Yeah.
realize that it
Yeah.
goes by at times. But it's so interesting to me, and part of what motivates me to do this podcast is learn from people such as yourself and share your story as well, because I think that in those darker times, although we look back and we know, those weren't our brightest moments. They ultimately shaped us and helped us find value in our lives, value in ourselves, know that we're good enough, and be able to continue to persevere. So what was really like, I guess the turning point for you, that brought you out of that darkness and made you decide to make a change in your life?
So, yeah, that happened pretty quickly. I crashed my car into a toll plaza and I luckily didn't hurt myself or the toll plaza worker. That woman was scared to death that I could have hit her, almost hit her, and she was, very close to the accident. I'm not saying that in that second this switch happened, but through the days going after and even months after, I realized that I just hurt somebody so badly, maybe not physically, but now they have a forever trauma of something that I did. And I couldn't live with myself for that. And that pushed me into what I need to do something along with legal actions, the legal things that were happening to me. I did get a DUI. I had to pay, I had restitution, I had probation, I had to do certain things. But that person being harmed really pushed me to the end. The judge could have said, get yourself together, get yourself clean, and I might not have done it. I know that. I know a lot of recovering addicts or addicts to this day, you know, they have been in jail or been threatened with prison time or did prison time, and they still continue to go back to it. They never had that break in a moment for them. And I wish I knew who she was so I could apologize. I don't, but every day staying sober is, my apology to her that I will never, ever put myself or put somebody's life at risk again by being under the influence and especially driving under the influence.
Sure. And, Jackie, like you said, I think that, what you do moving forward, although you aren't able to communicate with her, what you do moving forward speaks volumes by, what you do to help others in your current
Mhm.
business and in your life, right? You stand as a beacon of inspiration, in my opinion, to other people who may have, done drugs and had a turning point in their lives and maybe they never had that moment of realization, like you said, and they went to jail and they went back to it. But maybe after hearing your story, people that you've talked to already, and maybe even after this podcast, are going to be inspired to make a change. And I think that you willing to be vulnerable to share your story also speaks volumes about the amount of empathy you have for other people. That's something I've always loved about you from the day that I met you. And you and I have very similar personalities, Jackie. We're both what's called ENFJs. I won't get into detail on what that is
Yeah.
exactly right now on this podcast, but pretty much suffice to say, we're very outwardly motivated to help other people, and we feel like we did wrong by somebody else. We want to do everything we can to make it right. And I think that the best thing we can do to help other people is start by helping ourselves. So kudos to you because a lot of people don't have the strength to do what you did to be able to, overcome that big of an obstacle and say, you know what, I am going to make a positive change in my life. So again, Jackie, that's truly incredible.
Thank you.
So, in your recovery journey, what were some of those bigger challenges for you during that time? I know that obviously you were very motivated by what happened with this woman at the toll booth, but what were some of the other bigger challenges you had to overcome at first?
I had to learn how to listen and take advice from the people who had done it. And by done it, I mean sustained recovery for multiple years. So there's a saying, I took the cotton out of my ears and put it in my mouth because I didn't know what sober life was. I didn't know what being a good daughter and a good friend and a mentor. I didn't know what any of this was. I was only self-serving for so long, and I did it. I took that one little phrase and I did it and I applied it to everything that I did. I stopped knowing it all and really just listening to those people. So that's how I overcame that first part of the obstacle of once you're sober, once you're through detox and you're through all of that, life goes on. You have to figure out what to do with yourself. So that was networking through the community, NA, and just finding my path again. So that was service for me. That was helping people. So in little bits of ways, I would volunteer at the meetings I went to, or at that time, I think I started getting into going to homeless shelters more and doing that. So that's kind of where I picked up little bits from people. by listening. And I applied that to my life.
The listening piece is definitely big for me as well. Being able
Mhm.
to actively listen and care about what somebody else is saying and help them achieve that desired end result, et cetera. And in your case, just listening to other people who have already done it so you could achieve your own desired end result and recover. And I'm curious, Jackie, what in that process helped you regain your own self-confidence, and belief in yourself?
I think it was doing it, seeing that I could do it and continue to do it slowly built that confidence. I never I hate saying this, but like I never was gonna go back to that lifestyle. Like it was
Right.
done for me. And not a lot of people have that I've spoken to about it have that. So for me, it was just it was cold. It was done. Everything my past was done and I had only to look forward. Now did that kind of stuff creep in a little bit? Of course, where my self-esteem and my self-confidence got down and I was remembering all the horrible things that I did or stuff like that, but I had to just keep going. So, yeah, it was a slow process, but I did it. I'm still here. I have all my limbs. I have my sight. I have a roof over my head. If I had a difficult time and I did it or I got through it, or even if I failed at whatever I was attempting, I had to just go back to I'm safe. I'm sober. I have all of these great things in my life. So just keep trying.
It sounds like you have a tremendous amount of gratitude for what you have in your life, and it sounds like gratitude is part of also what pulled you through.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it was minute by minute sometimes of reminding myself that to the very basic, I have 10 toes, I have 10 fingers, I have my eyesight, like very basic things. I do think I have that to work on still too. I sometimes take things for granted and but I try my best to remind myself how good I really do have it.
Well, Jackie, I think you're doing a great job with that because I think that in today's world, people think that, achieving high levels of wealth or material objects are the important things in life when really just the fact that we woke up in the morning, the fact that we could take a deep breath and our lungs work, the fact that we could walk on two legs and have all of our limbs like you said is a true
Mm,
blessing, and I think that staying in that state of gratitude over the small things, those small things are really the big things. Even when we said before, some people might look at volunteering as a small thing to do when really it has such a huge impact on the people around us, right? So, us staying in that mindset of gratitude is what allows us to have a bigger impact on other people. And being in that state of gratitude, I feel has also helped you reach for things in your life that some people who went through recovery might not even attempt to. And some people that don't even get out of recovery, never even achieve the gratitude mindset. So you've come a very long way just in that sense. And that's something you should be proud of yourself for for sure. And then to top it off, now you're a successful business professional in the world of real estate. I just want to transition to that now at this time. Talk to me about, what was your work life like, through your recovery process and what ultimately led you to deciding to get into real estate?
Well, I always loved real estate. So if I was in the car with my parents, I was always looking out the window and looking at this house and looking at the open land and designing buildings in my head, which in my head is not how they are actually built. So as a little kid, I think I really enjoyed that. I thought real estate was very interesting. And when I started my recovery journey, I really was looking for a career. I was serving, bartending, which was great. I
Yeah.
love that. And I was really trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And my later mentor, Jasmine, told me that she was a realtor and a property manager, and she kind of gave me the rundown of it. And I didn't think I'd be able to do it because of legal issues and my past and certain things. But just 2.5, 3 years later, I did it. I got it. And I went through all the proper channels. I had to take the classes and everything. I didn't pass the first time I took the test. So that was another little obstacle. And, it just brought on so much for me. It really opened up. At first, it was, of course, making a living and the flexibility that it gave me. I get to choose my own hours. I get to pick and choose when and where I want to work. I can work from home or the office. So that was really like all of that together really like helped me say, this is it. And I made a commitment to it. I've had part-time jobs in between because it is unstable in a sense of it's a commission-based work. If somebody
Sure, it's a
listening
money
doesn't know.
tolerance game, especially at first.
Yeah, so I've had some part-time jobs that I've had to enable, but yeah, it's been it's op it in the last, like, 2 years of being a realtor, a lot of things have opened up for me and a lot of opportunities, so I'm just kinda running with them and seeing where I land. I'm not
Yeah,
afraid to fail anymore. I'm not afraid to be not good enough because I am. And my
that's
track
right.
record with my clients and everything have shown that. And it's awesome to like read the reviews of my clients afterwards because it just makes me feel so good. It's like the best feeling. And yeah, it really was it was a interesting way how I got into it because it was really somebody who was like, I think you'd be good at this and you already like this. So why don't you give it a shot? So
Was that the same person, Jasmine, your mentor, or was it somebody different?
yes, she ended up being my mentor, my confidant, my best friend. I mean, I was going to the gym with that woman at 6 in the morning because I wanted to be just like her. I was going to do whatever she did. And she really set me up for success. So I have my whole career to thank, for her.
How did you find her? Was it when you were working as a server bartender or through another channel?
Yeah, it was yeah, we were working at a restaurant in Highland Park and we looked across the room to each other and we were like, I know you, but how do I know you?
Sure.
And small world, where we grew up is very small. So that's how we kind of like knew each other. We were never friends back then, but we had the same group of friends. So we knew of each other.
Yeah, I always find it funny. I want to backtrack for a second because, as you know, I worked in the server bartender world as well.
Mhm.
And I think that I learned invaluable lessons during that time of being a server and bartender. And it really teaches
Oh, yeah.
you, for anybody that wants to get into the business world, I'd say start there because it really teaches you those interpersonal skills and how to work with people, whether it's the server staff, your managers, and then also the people that are coming in to the restaurant or bar itself. How important was that to you in your early stages of your career? I would assume the same.
I love being a server. I mean, it's money aside, you have like every time you greet a table or you greet a new guest, you get to be a different person.
Sure.
And it's really just like, I can give the best service and figure out what that person needs or wants. Do they want to be left alone? Do they want somebody funny and charismatic? Do they want to be, do they want to hear about my story or they want to hear about what I'm doing? It's building relationships and you get to keep trying. So I learned a lot through that. And I also really like got better at my sales. I was able to carry that somewhat, obviously tailoring it to a different business, but I was really
Sure.
able to perfect my sales with that, and the two major things that I learned from that is like be passionate about what you're selling. Do you want me to just tell you the beer is good or we have the best espresso martini in the area that if you don't like it, I'm going to drink it in the back. Do you want something like that? Or do you want just, this is our menu, blah, blah, blah. So, that style put into real estate now too. If I'm showing a house or to a
Sure.
buyer, I'll say, this is a really great neighborhood. I would live here, or I point it out. That's not the best burger we have. That roof looks crazy. I don't like the way it's sloping. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you kind
being
of
honest
tailor
with
it.
them. Yeah, well,
Exactly.
either
Being
way,
honest.
Jackie, both roles, you're guiding people to a desired end result, whether it's a meal or a drink, or it's a house, or in automotive, it's a car. At the end of the day, we learn how to guide people being a server and bartender and have real conversations, understand rejection sometimes. You could have put on the best service for a table and they could still leave you a horrible tip. And then you could be frustrated. And the next person that comes in is this sweetheart of a person or a family, and they're
Yep.
just great and leave you an excellent tip, and understanding that rejection sometimes is going to happen, especially in business. And it's okay because as long as we keep moving forward, everything's going to be all right. And the other piece too, you mentioned about, you get to be a different person, at
Mhm.
every table. We used to say in automotive, and some people still do. It's you're the showroom floor is your theater and you are the actor. So you get to go out there and put on a show for people. And guess what? Not in a funny way. You're actually delivering an experience. People go out to
Mhm.
eat or go to a bar or work with a specific real estate agent that want an experience when they're going through these buying processes. So providing that
Mhm.
experience, being honest with them and guiding them like, hey, that roof looks jacked up. I don't think I don't think this is going to be the best option for you. It becomes so important and invaluable to them. So really, really cool, keynote takeaways there from the serving bartending into the real estate world. Talk to me a little bit about, and as a real estate professional, what made you pursue the more, it's already entrepreneurial, but go another level deeper. What made you pursue opening Anchor Teahl Management and starting your own property management company?
Yeah. So it was at the very basic a way for me to capitalize on the portfolios that I currently manage for my out of state clients. So I needed a way to collect my service fees, right? Everything that I do outside of listing the property has nothing to do with my real estate license. I'm just your friend going over to your house, checking on your dog or your cat essentially, right? I'm checking on your tenants, I'm checking on your unit. So that's how it started. Just that very basic, like, I need a way to pay Uncle Sam for the money that I'm making. And then it kind of rolled into I wanted to expand it, obviously. Eventually, it could become a self sustaining business, which would, you know, optimize my flexibility and I could do more with real estate too, get rid of my part time jobs. But yeah, they're both very different. They're both really like completely separate. My brokerage, Dono Realty, which is a boutique brokerage here in New Jersey, we have 3 offices. Amazing broker, Rudy Dono. He is the man. He's always there for us. He's very knowledgeable and very experienced. So that's really fun to work with them and have everything that I need at my fingertips to list the property for rent, find a tenant, all of the access to contracts for New Jersey and everything through them. And then once that's done, it moves into my property management company where now I'm, taking care of it. If there's an issue, I have to go. A couple of weeks ago at 5 in the morning, one of the tenants called to tell me that the ceiling was leaking.
Oh
So
man.
that was a fun trip, but it's part of the job, and I learned a lot from that little leaking situation. So that's always good
Sure.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, besides it being a valuable lesson, how cool is it in ways, we talk about this in our business, Sandy Sarami and I. How cool is it that it's your phone that rings when they have that problem? You know,
Right.
they could call technically anybody and they could have had a different property manager, but they know you and trust you enough to say, hey, I'm in an emergency situation. I'm in a pinch. Jackie's Jackie's my go-to. I know I can call her and rely on her. And the relationships that form out of that become so special. And I know in the past, Jackie, we talked about your mission for helping people with lesser financial situations and means, for helping them get into, a home or a property. Talk to me about that a little bit, because I think that that's an incredible mission you have as a real estate agent and business owner, not just to help people that are maybe looking to, buy a rental property and get tenants, but talk to me about helping people who might be looking to get into their first home and get out of a bad situation. What inspired you to take that road, and how have you helped people in there in that world already?
So, yeah, I quickly realized that there was a huge disconnect in the recovery world to real estate. A lot of people thought that they'd never be able to own a home, that they would always be renting, that they'd be stuck in this cycle, which it's a case by case scenario, right? There's a lot of factors to it, but one of the things that I did the first year of having my real estate license was networking. I wanted to find the team that was going to not only support me, but help me get some people into a home that maybe they thought they'd never own a home.
Right.
So I sought out and I found a great bunch of people to kind of help me between lenders, attorneys, title companies, and the title companies are important because they're the ones that kind of help you get stuff off your record. And, oh, you have an outstanding fine from whatever, you got to pay that. They're the ones that kind of get everything nice and packaged. The attorneys obviously have your back. And I work with a fantastic attorney who he goes to bat for his clients just like I do.
Right.
And then I have a few lenders who somebody has an answer. Somebody will have a way to get the funding for the house. Might take a little bit of work, might take some time, but somebody will have an answer. Somebody will be able to guide you through that. So that's kind of where that idea started. I don't necessarily market myself only to those first time home buyers who are in that sector, the recovery sector, although I do get a lot of business that way because I know so many people. But a first time home buyer, just a regular person like you, me, our friends, our generation,
Sure.
they don't really know. They probably heard their parents buy their house for 100,000 or their grandparents who bought the land for 15 and built the house.
Sure.
They've heard these horror stories and they're like, well, the houses are, 300,000 plus now. I can't afford that. Well, you can. And there's different programs that you might qualify for. Again, case by case, but I had a really, really good sale last year. They were in a very crappy apartment, mold everywhere, really bad. And the wife was pregnant
Oh,
and they were having their first child. And I had helped their friends. So it's now a referral basis, right? That's I love that. And
our
they said,
relationship, Jackie.
yeah. And they said, give her a call, see what we can do. I got them into a house. It was pretty much updated. A few things had to be done, but it was fine. And all they brought to closing was $2,000, which again is a case by case
Right.
basis. But that's what they brought. That's what their down payment was, their deposit. That's all they had to bring. And it was amazing. I think a month and a half later, she had the baby after closing.
Wow.
So that really felt good for me. And they were average people, just average income, average education, nothing too crazy. So that really made me feel good that I got them out of a bad situation and was able to foster their like new life together.
I hope you realize how truly impactful you are, Jackie, because I do. And the reason I
Thank
say that
you.
is because two things. One, you had two key takeaways there is one, you had the wherewithal to go out and make your own network. I think that a lot of business professionals and want to be entrepreneurs don't understand the power of relationships and how you actually have to drive that yourself. You have to show up and show value and seek to make a difference before you ever expect to make a dollar, right? And then secondly, look at how you just help somebody, go from a horrible situation, again, case by case basis, but you were able to help them get out of a horrible situation in a mold infested apartment and actually be able to get into a home. Would you say that that is your proudest moment so far as a real estate agent?
Yeah, probably, yeah, with like a client. Yeah,
Okay,
that would have to be up there. I've helped
cool.
a lot of people, but for the majority of the time, the leads that I would get from my brokerage or other sources, they're already qualified.
Sure,
These are people that know that they want to buy a house or know that they're looking to buy a house.
sure.
It's those referrals. It's the
Hmm.
referrals that I get from past clients that, they knew that I did such a good job for them that now they trust me to take care of their family and friends the way that they would want to be treated. So yeah, that was probably up there in the
Okay.
proudest moments. Yeah, definitely one of
Yeah,
them.
I would think so because again, being able to considering your story, being able to help somebody like that is very empowering and you brought that to a reality for them and for yourself through your own inspired action to, and the self-confidence you built to go ahead and say, I'm going to not only become a real estate agent, but I'm going to be able to help people achieve what they're looking to do in their lives from a real estate standpoint. So again, kudos to you for what you've done so far and what you're going to do. And I just wanted to kind of highlight that because you are making a huge impact in
Thank
people's
you.
lives. So at this point, Jackie, what motivates you, to continue to grow the business? What are you doing to continue to grow as a business professional as well?
I have a lot of ideas for Anchor Teahl Management and Consulting, so that's it's still very fresh and new. I still have to figure that out. So that's kind of the motivation is to figure that out. And it's it's fun, but it's also like mentally draining. So I have to take care of myself too to keep that motivation to keep rolling with it. So I take it a day at a time. But yeah, the end goal would be for that, for my business, both businesses would it be to keep helping people, to keep figuring out a way to get people into affordable housing and safe housing and really get people, maybe even people who have a little bit more money or have the means to start investing and start to realize, that there's other options to making money every month, to having an income. So educating people on that and being that trusted advisor that they're going to go to and use would, that really just, that's all wrapped into my motivation is getting to a point where it self-ran.
Yeah,
It'd be
for
easy.
sure.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
no,
be
of course.
easy, I think. Oh,
Yeah, and I think too, I'll be excited to do another episode with you in the future, Jackie, as you continue to develop yourself as a professional, but also you're going to end up in a leadership role. I truly believe that because of who you are, what you represent, and I think people gravitate to you because of that, and of course your personality. So, again, I think that this is just the start for you in your own business, and I think you will get to a point where it is self-sufficient and you're helping people and guiding them, whether it's real estate investment, people with lesser financial means, people that are looking for a home, whatever the case may be. I know that you'll continue to educate yourself and educate them to make the best decision possible for them. What's one thing you do right now, Jackie, a daily habit or something along those lines that you use to grow as a professional? What do you do on a daily basis?
I with the help of, my therapist and working through all of that, I developed sort of a task list, which is like, I have to do these things. I could do these things and I can do these things. So, my day to day is kind of broken up that way. Maybe not physically written down, but in my mind. So I take care of the things that I absolutely have to get done. And if that's all I do for the day, that's fine. And then the other two categories are things that kind of give me a little bit of that dopamine, or, I start one thing and maybe I'll start doing the other thing along with it. So I kind of use that as a tool to structure my day. Also, as I just mentioned before, being a property manager is pretty um, unpredictable. So I might
Sure.
get a call to have to go handle something. So my list is going to change then. So I have that, and it's been working for me. It keeps me on track. I also do use like a whiteboard tool. So I write things on there that maybe I want to do, or I just to have a visual. So of course, I'm always in my car and I'm always on the go. But when I do come home and sit in the office, I can see that, oh, you know what, let me get one of these things done. So those are my like want to do, could do, whatever you want to call them. So that once I implemented that, pretty much changed. I didn't have these, hanging like time pressed things that I needed to make sure like 100% everything got done. I did what I
Sure.
had to do and kept going. So if I was having one of those bad days where I didn't want to do anything and I just got done the very important things, then that's all I did, you know?
I love that, Jackie. I actually, when you sent me, some notes leading up to the episode, and I saw must do, could do, can do, as you
Yeah.
put it, I think that that's huge because being able, and I can relate to this because being able to organize your day, week, month around the things that you must do, the things you could do, and the things you can do. The can is like an opportunity, like I can do this. How cool is it that I could do this? And
Mhm.
then the I coulds, is like, okay, well, this could move the needle. It might not really move the needle, but I could do it and it'll be helpful. And the must do's, is the top priorities on the list. What absolutely has to get done today? And I think that that is something that I don't want to glaze over that because when I saw that, it triggered something for me and you educated me on it because I also use whiteboards, right? As an
Mhm.
entrepreneur, I'm constantly writing down things I have to do, organizing, reverse engineering processes, and then being able to integrate them can be challenging if you don't have it prioritized in a very specific way. So I think that that's a huge thing for the audience as well as ourselves as we continue to move forward in our entrepreneurial journey. So I want to thank you for that. And as we move forward, Jackie, talk to me about a little bit more about what are some things you do today that your younger self wouldn't believe you if you told them.
Yeah, I'd have to say young Jackie would not believe that I actually go to the gym and I run and I strength train at my own free will, because all of those years playing sports and stuff like that, I just wanted to run around, kick the ball, make goals. I just wanted to play with my friends. I was like forced into doing laps and forced into strength training and all those, whatever they made us do. So I think she'd get a kick out of finding me at the gym at like 3 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Right.
you know?
What's your Yeah, absolutely. What's your favorite thing about at this point in your life? What's your favorite thing about working out and finding that in your life now?
Well, I do it for my mental health more. It's a constant in my life. I know that for an hour a day, I am doing this no matter what. That's my hour. Sometimes I lay on the yoga mat and just scroll on TikTok. I'm going to be honest, but I am
Okay.
doing that for myself. But
Right.
yeah, it's more for my mental, and I do enjoy hitting those goals of, oh wow, I just squatted 100 pounds, and then in
Mhm.
the complete, the reason why people do work out is to stay healthy and all of that. And so then I see my nieces, and they're big now, they're getting big, and
Yeah.
they both jump on me and want me to both hold them at the same time, and I physically can.
Right.
And that's kind of the aha, like, oh wow, like I'm actually doing good in the gym. And that builds up that confidence and wants to keep going. So, and everybody likes to look good.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's like
yeah.
a side effect of doing it, of course, but I can totally relate to the mental health piece because I know whether I'm in a good mood, a bad mood, whatever kind of mood I'm in prior to going for a run, once I'm
Mhm.
done running, I usually have a list of ideas that I'm like, oh, I can't wait
Mhm.
to do these things, and I usually feel incredible and grateful, and I go back to
Mhm.
like you said before, like that state of gratitude that I'm able to move my body and actually do that. And there's some people sitting that couldn't do that. And I just am
Mhm.
tremendously grateful. So it really does help with your mental health for sure. And then being able to, those are the things you also don't realize, right? Like, your nieces jump on you and you're able to pick them up. And you're like, wow, I wouldn't be able to do that if I wasn't going to the gym more often. So
Mhm.
for me, it's like running around with my niece and nephew, as well. So I totally can relate to that. Jackie, what you've been so gracious with your time, and I really appreciate that, of course, and you
Yeah, of
willing to
course.
be vulnerable and share your story. Talk to me about for the audience, what piece of advice would you give to somebody who is going through their own adversity, extreme challenges or obstacles, who might currently be writing their own underdog story?
It's gonna be cliche, and you're gonna find this in every self-help book because I've read most of them. Is you have to first and foremost be kind to yourself and allow those failures to happen. So when that failure happens, be kind to yourself and try something different. And you might not know that you're in the biggest obstacle, or you might not know that this little obstacle is going to change your life, but getting over whatever that is only putting you forward. And the second part of it is try not to dwell on the mistakes that you've made. That's why I said to you, the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror for a reason. We need to stay focused what's on ahead of us. Remember what's in the back, learn from it, know that it's there, but use that to guide you forward. So just keep going. That would be the biggest thing is just keep going. Try different things, fail, learn. It's not going to be overnight. My story took 8 years.
Right.
And I just realized that today that it's been 8 years. So,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
and you're still writing it, and that's the
yeah,
beautiful thing about it. Those failures didn't ultimately define you, but you were able to grow from them and realize that growth, and like you just said, like, "Holy crap, it's been 8 years,"
yeah,
and sit here and look at where you are today. It's truly an incredible thing, so, yeah, no, totally agree, and I think that everybody can learn from their failures as long as they're willing to learn, and I think that a
mhm,
lot of the core of what we've been talking about here is be willing to help yourself, have empathy, live in that state of gratitude, and your life will bloom from doing those things for sure. This is one of my favorite questions. If you had a magic cell phone, Jackie, and you could call your younger self and leave yourself a voicemail when you were struggling the most, what would you tell yourself?
that's tough. Ron, that's so tough. I would probably tell myself that, you're where you need to be. Just, just keep going. I spent a lot of time holding myself back. So I think I would, and just say, and giving up, I spent a lot, and it's fine. I'll do it tomorrow, or I'm not even going to try anymore. I did give up a lot of different things. So I think I
Sure.
would tell my, my voicemail that just keep going, keep working on it, keep working on yourself, that you'll
Yeah,
get
don't give
there.
up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. Who has up to this point in your life, Jackie, who has inspired you the most? And who do you aspire to be most like?
My cousin Katie is 10 years younger than me, and she faces adversity daily. She has some eye issues that really hinder her ability to read. However, she graduated from Cornell last year
Like,
and is just so happy, so inspiring. She's beautiful. She lights up the room, and she's in a field. She went for sustainable farming. So I actually look up to my baby cousin because not only is that a very random and not really known about career, but it's very important to
Right.
the health of the United States, to all agriculture. And, she went after something that was just very far from what our family, not values, I would say, but what our family is used to, entrepreneurship and just whatever. She went in the complete opposite direction. And I really, I inspire to be like her sometimes, because she's not going to, there's no really, farmers don't make a lot of money. I'll just point blank.
Yeah.
They make really nothing. And that was never her end goal. She wasn't like,
Right.
I don't want to be a millionaire. I want to do what good for the animals, first of all, and for human, consumption and stuff. So yeah, I've always said that, even before becoming where I am today. I've always said that I looked up to my little cousin. So I think that it has to be her, because she every year she inspires me. She's always doing something different, and she learns something and then teaches it to us. Um,
Wow.
so
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So if anybody's in Princeton or Highland Park, there's farmers markets. You can see her there. She works for Cherry Grove Dairy Farm, and they have amazing cheese. Not to try and sell it, but it is really good cheese. It's happy
Oh, you can
cows.
sell me on
So
cheese, Jackie. It's all right. I'm not.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'll never be mad when somebody gives me a good cheese recommendation. So
yeah,
don't.
yeah, yeah,
I'm not going to be mad, at least personally. But
yeah.
some people who are lactose intolerant, I'm sorry for you
Maybe
in
not. Yeah,
advance.
they have
But
vegetables too. So
there you go. No, I think that
but
that's
yeah,
so incredible because number one, it doesn't matter if somebody's older or younger than you. You could totally aspire to be like someone or more like somebody, regardless of age. And number two, also, I think people get so wrapped up in the money element in today's
mhm,
world. And she's out there making a difference, overcame her own set of adversity and challenges, and went in a direction that, a lot of people might not go because they're so money driven. When really, we need to be more, like you mentioned before, Jackie, and what you do in your business too, is you're more driven to make a difference and guide people in the right direction and be honest
mhm,
with them and truly help them. And I think that money is a tool and also a byproduct, like we said earlier, of making that difference as well. But, when we're focused on money only, that's when things can get really sour and go south. I think that, to look up to somebody who is driven by something other than money is a beautiful thing because
mhm.
again, we're all living life and to be able to make a difference in somebody else's life, whether it's agriculture, et cetera, it's truly remarkable. Jackie, what
Yeah.
what is your favorite part of your own story up to this point?
I I have like a lot of thoughts on that, because I've done a lot of work on myself, but and having to like realize certain things, but across the whole board, I never lost myself. I never lost my personality. I never lost my core reason for doing anything. I I still stayed vibrant. I still stayed positive. Even when it was really dark, I was always for myself. I was always positive for other people, trying to help other people. So I think that's my favorite part of the entire story, not just one specific time. And I'm thankful and grateful that that has stayed with me, because I could have easily became cold to the world and hid and did nothing, or worse, just continued the lifestyle that I was having. So I'm very grateful that what I'm supposed to do is shining through.
Right.
Maybe I think I found the core of my purpose in life, which I is very important for somebody to try and find. That might take years to know what you're supposed to be doing here, but I do believe that we all have a purpose. We're all here for a reason. So,
Sure. And I think that also not losing yourself, like you said, a
mhm,
lot of people can go when going through adversity, get very bitter and then fall into a victim mindset, that
mhm,
they're not good enough or, nothing works out for me or doesn't work out for me. And staying positive and keeping your personality and, that's incredible to me, because you have an incredible personality, and to lose that, would be like losing a part of yourself. So, again, I think that that's a great realization that you have, and will definitely serve you moving forward, knowing that that's something that could never be taken away from you. And
Hmm.
looking ahead, Jackie, what are your goals and aspirations for the future, whether it's personal or in business with Anchor Teahl Management?
Um, I I would like to be I would like my business to be self-sustaining, and which would give me more flexibility to help more people find other avenues, maybe even work in a nonprofit for more affordable housing. There are a few nonprofits out there already. But there's that could be changed. So I guess my goals down the line would be to really streamline a way to do this. And that's me doing a trial and error now and kind of figuring that out. Personally, I would like I would like the picket fence and the husband and the kids and the house, and I would like that kind of fairy tale lifestyle. But, you know, that's not really life. We're not a Stepford, movie here. So I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy day to day. I want to be able to lay my head down and know that I did my best for the day and I helped as many people as I could.
For sure. I think those are great goals, Jackie. And I think that you
Yeah.
will get what you're looking for in terms of, that picket
Yeah.
fence kind of style home in
Yeah.
life. You definitely will. I truly, truly believe that. Is there anything
Yeah.
else you'd like to share with our listeners before we wrap up here?
Yeah, well, if you're listening to this and you're finding it hard to stay positive or, maybe move forward and you're stuck somewhere, take a look around who you're around. The friends that you keep, the people that you associate with, all of that really impacts you. And for me, I did end a few friendships over the last few years because they weren't serving me anything other than misery, and their outlooks on life and the things that they were saying did not align with what I was trying to achieve. It doesn't have to be in the same business, but just in general life. So I would say if you're really trying to make a change in your life, make a full change. People the people, places, and things is the biggest thing you have to think about. So
Love that, Jackie.
yeah.
Where can people find more info on you and on your business, Anchor Teal Management?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Anchor Teahl Management is the business, and then Realtor Jacqueline is the real estate one. But they're both linked to me. So yeah, I'm here. Um, Looking forward to talking to viewers or helping people or anything you need, Ron. We've discussed that too. So
Absolutely. Right back at you, Jackie. I truly
thank you.
appreciate you being here. This was a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah.
And there's been another great episode of Great American Underdog, stories of strength and success from real life underdogs. Once again, thank you, Jackie Teal, for joining us today. And we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.